want to talk to you about something that drives me absolutely crazy. You've heard this question before. Maybe you heard it yesterday. Maybe you'll hear it tomorrow. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's the stupidest question in the entire world. I mean it. I'm not exaggerating. It's right up there with, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Except that one is at least honest about being nonsense. This 5-year question pretends to be serious. It pretends to be wisdom. Companies ask it. Your parents ask it. Career counselors ask it with a straight face like they're helping you. But here's the thing. You don't know where you'll be in 5 years. You can't know. And anybody who tells you they know is either lying to you or lying to themselves. You want to know something funny? You don't even know what you're going to want for dinner next Tuesday. Think about that. Next Tuesday. That's 6 days away, maybe 7. And you have no idea if you'll want pizza or Chinese food, or if you'll even be hungry, because maybe you'll get food poisoning on Monday from that sandwich you haven't eaten yet. But somehow, we're supposed to predict 5 years. 5 years is 1,826 days. That's 1,826 dinners you can't predict. And we're supposed to map out our entire lives across that chasm? It's absurd, but we do it anyway. We sit down with our little notebooks and our fancy pens, and we draw these elaborate cages. We call them plans. We call them goals. We call them vision boards. And then we climb inside these cages we built, and we lock the door, and we throw away the key. And then life happens. Life comes along, and it doesn't fit in your cage. Of course it doesn't. Life is too big. Life is too weird. Life is too surprising. But instead of breaking open the cage, instead of climbing out and running free, what do? We beat ourselves up. We say, I failed. I didn't stick to the plan. I'm not where I said I would be. We turn ourselves into prisoners, and then we blame ourselves for being in prison. Here's what you need to understand. Plans are solid. They're rigid. They're made of metal bars and concrete walls. But life? Life is fluid. Life is water. Life flows. It moves. It changes shape. It goes around obstacles. It finds new paths. And what happens when you try to contain water in a rigid structure? Eventually, the structure breaks, or the water evaporates, or it leaks out. You can't hold water still. You can't freeze time. You can't lock down the future. Solids break. Fluids flow. And you, my friend, you are fluid. You are changing every single day. Your cells are replacing themselves. Your thoughts are evolving. Your desires are shifting. The person you are today is not the person you were 5 years ago, and the person you'll be 5 years from now, you haven't met them yet. So why are you trying to make decisions for a stranger? Let me tell you about something beautiful, something that changed the way we understand reality itself. It's called the Uncertainty Principle, and a man named Werner Heisenberg discovered it back in the 1920s. Here's what he found. When you look at the really small stuff, the stuff that makes up everything, the electrons and particles and all that, something strange happens. You can measure where a particle is, or you can measure how fast it's moving, but you can't measure both at the same time. Not because your instruments aren't good enough, not because you need a better microscope, but because that's just how reality works at the bottom. If you try to nail down the exact position of an electron, its momentum goes wild. It could be moving at any speed in any direction. The more precisely you know where it is, the less you know about where it's going. And if you measure its momentum, if you pin down exactly how fast it's moving and in what direction, then its position becomes fuzzy. It could be anywhere. You can't know both. You have to choose. Position or momentum. Location or motion. Being or becoming. This isn't philosophy. This is mathematics. This is reality showing us something fundamental about how the universe operates. At the very bottom of everything, nature is fuzzy. It's probabilistic. It's uncertain. There are no straight lines down there. There are no perfect predictions. There's only probability clouds and maybe and sort of and approximately. Now, here's where it gets interesting for you. You are made of these particles. Every atom in your body, every electron spinning around every nucleus, they're all following these rules. They're all uncertain. They're all probabilistic. You are, at the most fundamental level, a walking, talking probability cloud. So, let me ask you something. If the very atoms that make you up are unpredictable, if they don't follow deterministic paths, if they can't be pinned down and measured and controlled, why do you think your career is predictable? Why do you think your life is going to follow some straight line from point A to point B? You're fighting the fundamental grain of the universe. It's like trying to build a square building out of round stones. You can try. You can force it. You can use a lot of cement and scaffolding and willpower. But you're working against the material. You're working against nature. And here's what happens. When you try to pin down your position, when you say, I will be exactly here in 5 years, doing exactly this job, living exactly this life, you lose your momentum, you lose your energy, you lose your ability to move, you become rigid, you become stuck. You become so focused on hitting that target that you can't see the opportunities passing by on either side. You can't adapt. You can't flow. Or maybe you try the opposite. Maybe you say, I'm going to keep moving, keep hustling, keep grinding, maintain momentum at all costs, but then you never stop to figure out where you are. You never check your position. You're running full speed, but you have no idea if you're running towards something or away from something or in circles. This is the trap. The more energy you spend trying to control the future, trying to lock down your position 5 years from now, the more you lose your momentum in the present, the more you lose your life, the more you lose your energy. You're pouring all your power into building a cage for a future that doesn't exist yet, while the present moment, the only moment that actually exists, slips away. And the cost? The cost is anxiety. The cost is stress. The cost is lying awake at 3 in the morning, wondering if you're on track, if you're falling behind, if you're doing it right. That anxiety is waste heat. It's energy that could be powering your actual life, your actual movement, your actual growth. But instead, it's just making you hot and uncomfortable and scared. Wasted energy, wasted life. Now, let me tell you about chaos. Not the chaos of your teenager's bedroom, not the chaos of a messy desk. I'm talking about chaos theory, capital C, capital T. The mathematics of complex systems. Back in the 1960s, a meteorologist named Edward Lorenz was trying to predict weather patterns. He had a computer, which was a big deal back then, and he was running simulations. One day he wanted to check something, so he reran a simulation. But instead of starting from the beginning, he started from the middle. He took a number from the printout, something like 0.506, and he typed it in. The original number had more decimal places. It was 0.506127 or something. But he rounded it, just a tiny difference. A difference in the third decimal place, and the weather prediction went completely crazy. With that tiny difference in the starting conditions, the computer predicted totally different weather. Not a little different. Completely different. Sunny instead of rainy. Calm instead of stormy. This is when Lorenz realized something profound. Small inputs create massive outputs. Tiny changes in initial conditions lead to wildly different results. He called it sensitive dependence on initial conditions. But you know what everyone else called it? The butterfly effect. The idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could cause a tornado in Texas. Now, is that literally true? Can one butterfly really cause a tornado? Probably not. But the point is this: the world is so interconnected, so complex, with so many variables affecting so many other variables, that you cannot calculate it. You cannot predict it. You cannot plan for it. You plan a picnic, you check the weather forecast, it says sunny, you buy the food, you invite your friends, and then it rains. Why? Because somewhere a butterfly flapped its wings, or because the air pressure shifted, or because a million other variables you couldn't possibly account for came together in just the right way. You plan a career, you go to the right school, you get the right degree, you make the right connections, and then the economy crashes. Why? Because a housing bubble burst, because some bankers made bad bets, because the butterfly effect cascaded through the financial system in ways nobody predicted. You plan a marriage, you find the right person, you make commitments, you build a life, and then you meet someone else at a coffee shop. Someone you weren't looking for, someone who wasn't in the plan. And suddenly, everything changes. The butterfly flapped its wings, and your 5-year plan is lying in pieces on the floor. Here's what the chaos mathematics tells us. The world has too many variables, way too many, and they're all affecting each other all the time. Everything touches everything else. Every choice ripples outward. Every event cascades into other events. You cannot calculate the variables. There are too many. They're changing too fast. And even if you could calculate them all today, by tomorrow they'll all be different. So what do? You don't calculate. You adapt. Think about a surfer. A surfer doesn't plan the wave. The surfer doesn't say, in 5 seconds that wave will be exactly this high, and I will be exactly here, and my board will be tilted at exactly this angle. That's crazy. The wave is too complex. It's affected by wind and tide and the shape of the ocean floor and 1,000 other things. The wave is chaos in action. So what does the surfer do? The surfer feels the wave. The surfer responds. The surfer balances. When the wave goes left, the surfer goes left. When the wave gets bigger, the surfer adjusts. When the wave breaks, the surfer rides it or dives under it or paddles back out. The surfer is in conversation with chaos. The surfer is dancing with uncertainty. The surfer doesn't need to know what the wave will do in 5 seconds. The surfer only needs to respond to what the wave is doing right now. That's it. That's the whole thing. You are the surfer. Life is the wave. And the wave doesn't care about your 5-year plan. So stop trying to predict it. Stop trying to control it. Stop trying to build a mathematical model of the ocean. Just surf. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this sounds scary. This sounds like chaos. This sounds like giving up. This sounds like just drifting through life with no direction, no purpose, no plan. But that's not what I'm saying at all. Let me tell you something about myself. I've spent my whole life studying physics, trying to understand how the universe works. And you know what I've learned? I've learned that not knowing is better than knowing wrong. I once said, I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. And I meant it. See, when you have a plan, when you have your whole life mapped out, you think you have answers. You think you know, but you don't know. You're just guessing. You're just making up a story about the future and then pretending it's real. And here's the dangerous part. Once you have that story, once you've committed to that plan, you start to defend it. You start to ignore evidence that contradicts it. You start to force reality to fit your plan instead of letting your plan adapt to reality. You become attached to being right about a future that hasn't happened yet. That's not wisdom, that's stubbornness. But what if you let go of that? What if you really admitted, that you don't know what's going to happen? Something wonderful occurs. Suddenly, you're free. Suddenly, you're open. Suddenly, you can see opportunities that weren't in your plan because you're not trying to force everything into a predetermined shape. Uncertainty isn't scary. Uncertainty is exciting? Think about it. Think about watching a movie. Would you rather watch a movie where you already know every plot twist, every line of dialogue, every ending? Or would you rather watch something that surprises you? The surprise is the good part. The not knowing is what makes it interesting. A planned life is a boring movie where you already read the script. You know the ending. You know the middle. You know everything that's supposed to happen. And then you spend your whole life trying to make reality perform your script. But life doesn't want to perform your script. Life wants to improvise. Life wants to surprise you. Life wants to take you places you never imagined. And if you're too busy checking your map, if you're too busy making sure you're on the right path to your predetermined destination, you'll miss it. You'll miss the actual adventure because you're so focused on having the adventure you planned. Here's what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you to live spoiler-free. I'm inviting you to wake up every morning and admit that you don't know what's going to happen today. You don't know who you'll meet. You don't know what you'll learn. You don't know what opportunities will present themselves. And that's not a bug. That's a feature. That's the whole point. The universe is vast and strange and full of possibilities that you haven't thought of yet. Your imagination is limited. Your planning is limited. But reality? Reality is unlimited. So why would you want to constrain reality to fit your limited imagination? Why would you want to shrink the universe down to the size of your current understanding? Stay curious. Stay open. Stay uncertain. Because the moment you think you know, the moment you think you have it all figured out, that's the moment you stop learning. That's the moment you stop growing. That's the moment you stop being alive in any real sense. You become a robot executing a program. A machine following instructions. A person going through the motions of a life you designed years ago when you were someone else. But if you stay uncertain, if you embrace not knowing, then every day is new. Every day is an experiment. Every day is a chance to discover something you didn't know before. That's not scary. That's magnificent. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop looking at the horizon. Stop staring 5 years into the future. Stop trying to see around corners that don't exist yet. Look at your feet. Look at where you are right now, in this moment, in this actual present that actually exists, and take the next step. That's all you can do. That's all anyone can do. One step, the next step. The step that's in front of you right now. You don't need to know where the path leads. You don't need to see the destination. You just need to take the next step. And then, when you've taken that step, you take the next one. And then the next one. And then the next one. And you know what happens? You get somewhere. Maybe not where you planned. Probably not where you planned. But somewhere real. Somewhere that actually exists instead of somewhere you imagined. I'm serious about this. I want you to do something concrete. I want you to take your 5-year plan, wherever you wrote it down, and I want you to burn it. Actually burn it. Light it on fire. Watch it turn to ash. And if you don't have it written down, if it's just in your head, then I want you to let it go. Stop maintaining it. Stop defending it. Stop feeding it energy. Let it dissolve. Because that plan isn't helping you. It's not guiding you. It's not protecting you. All it's doing is making you feel bad when reality doesn't match it. Here's what you should follow instead. Follow your curiosity today, not your curiosity 5 years from now. Your curiosity today. Right now, what are you interested in? What makes you want to learn more? What problem do you want to solve? What question do you want to answer? Follow that. And tomorrow, follow your curiosity tomorrow. It might be the same thing. It might be something different. It doesn't matter. Just follow it. Because curiosity is real. Curiosity is present. Curiosity is alive. Curiosity is how you actually grow and change and become someone new. Plans are dead. Plans are frozen. Plans are trying to make tomorrow look like yesterday. But curiosity is saying, I don't know, but I want to find out. And that, I don't know, is the most honest thing you can say. It's the most true thing. It's the only thing that matches reality. Now, let me be clear about something. I'm not saying don't have goals. I'm not saying don't have dreams. I'm not saying just wander aimlessly through life like a balloon with no string. Have goals. Have dreams. But hold them loosely. Hold them like you hold a butterfly. If you squeeze too hard, you crush it. If you open your hand completely, it flies away. You hold it gently with an open palm, and you let it go when it's ready. Your goals should be directions, not destinations. They should be compasses, not maps. North is a direction. You can head north, but you don't need to know exactly how many steps it will take, or exactly what the terrain will look like, or exactly where you'll end up. You just head north, and you see what happens. And if you find something interesting to the east, you turn east. You don't keep walking north because that was the plan. You follow the interesting thing, because the interesting thing is real, and the plan is imaginary. Here's something else I want you to understand. Control is a drug. It's an addiction. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel like you're doing something. It makes you feel like you're being responsible and mature and adult. But it's a drug for scared people. Think about why we plan. Really think about it. We plan because we're afraid. We're afraid of uncertainty. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of making mistakes. We're afraid of wasting our lives. We're scared kids walking through a dark forest, and we want a flashlight. We want something to illuminate the path ahead so we can see the monsters before they get us. But here's what I'm telling you. Turn off the flashlight. Turn it off. Let your eyes adjust to the dark, because you know what happens when your eyes adjust? You start to see things. You start to see the stars. You start to see the shapes of the trees. You start to see the path under your feet, not 50 feet ahead, but right here where you're stepping. The flashlight was blinding you. The flashlight was creating a circle of light, and everything outside that circle was darkness and fear. But when you turn it off, when you let yourself be in the dark isn't so dark anymore. It's just reality. It's just life. And you can navigate it. You can navigate it better, actually, because you're not depending on some artificial light that only shows you what it wants to show you. You're using your actual senses, your actual awareness, your actual presence. And uncertainty stops being the enemy. Uncertainty becomes the playground. Because if you're certain about everything, if you know what's going to happen, what game is there to play? What discovery is there to make? What adventure is there to have? The whole fun of life, the whole juice of existence, is that you don't know. You get to find out. You get to be surprised. You get to have a story that you didn't write in advance. Control is for scared people who want to live a life they've already lived in their imagination. But uncertainty is the playground for the brave. It's the playground for people who trust themselves enough to handle whatever comes. For people who are curious enough to want to see what happens next. For people who are alive enough to want an actual adventure instead of a rehearsed performance. So, come play. Come play in the uncertainty. Come play in the not knowing. Come play in the present moment where life actually happens. Stop building cages. Stop drawing maps of territories that don't exist. Stop making promises to future versions of yourself that you haven't met yet. Just be here. Just take the next step. Just follow what's interesting, and trust that you, the real you, the you that actually exists right now, is capable of handling whatever comes. You've handled everything up until now. You're still here. You're still alive. You're still learning. You don't need a 5-year plan. You never did. You just need to pay attention. You just need to stay curious. You just need to keep moving. The universe is unfolding exactly as it should, not according to your plan, not according to anyone's plan, just according to the laws of physics and chaos and probability and all the beautiful uncertainty that makes reality real. So let go. Let go of the need to know. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the illusion that you can predict the future, and step into the only moment that actually exists, this one, right here, right now, where anything is possible,